G'day folk, hope you're doing grand. I follow this YouTuber called the Metatron, and he does awesome like medieval, ancient European, historical, traditional, educational videos that go into ancient arms and weapons, language, different types of subjects, history and things, usually more focused on arms and armor, medieval weapons and warfare, things like this. Think knights, castles, swords, shields, more specifically, but touches on all types of European history, generally. And he loves the Roman Empire, is an enthusiast of ancient Roman history and whatnot, the Hellenic region and period. A very knowledgeable individual if you want to learn about Western culture and Western history. And as well, he's not anti-white, which is beautiful. Beautiful. He doesn't have white guilt. He's not anti-white. He's not explicitly or openly white positive. He still has to go free of a few anti-white meme pathogens here and there, but he's not strongly, he leans more naturally towards being just intuitively, naturally, inherently white positive, which is really nice because he is a very knowledgeable individual, has a very, very large following of folk who are enthusiasts of European culture and history. Anyway, on this video, he happened to be talking about, somebody accused him of being a racist because they're trying to say that Jesus was a non-white individual, essentially, and the Metatron, the individual who makes this channel, he speaks to certain Christian subjects sometimes, like Jesus Christ, whether or not Jesus Christ was a historical man who can be backed up by. He doesn't talk about the theology, he doesn't preach or anything. He'll just talk about the history and the actual facts that can be proven scientifically around the topic of Christianity or Christ, etc. And so that was brought up. He was speaking about Christ, and this was the conversation that evolved and developed in the chat, the thread underneath the video. This individual states, "The fact that Metatron, probably one of the most unbiased people I have encountered on YouTube, gets called a racist by some, goes to show how ignorant people can be." And so I want to see how our influence, and I want to show people how much influence we are starting to have by spreading the lexicon of Go Free. We were this time last year, we were having a trickle effect. But now it's like what was once a trickle or a drip has become a downpour, like a gate, a dam has burst open. Huge change is happening. Okay, so, and I just want to go over this thread and these replies to illustrate this. This individual says, "Honestly, I'm getting the feeling that people are starting to use the word too loosely, and it's just starting to lose its meaning. Don't get me wrong, if someone is being a scumbag, then they deserve to be called what they are, but come on, guys." So this shows us even people who are still deep in the anti-white narrative and think racism is actually a real thing, they themselves are starting to believe that even though they think it's a real thing, that the word itself is starting to lose all meaning, which is beautiful. It's losing its power. This individual says, "The problem with the current political environment is that imbeciles have been given a voice. Now, people like Metatron have their hands full trying to respond to those imbeciles. Otherwise, he might be put into a category from which he will never be able to exit." A fair but very vague point. This individual says, "Unbiased in your opinion. I doubt he has been called racist. Others might have been, however." And this person's just oblivious to the fact. They're like, what do you mean? People aren't calling Metatron race. Yes, they are. Because he's white and he's not anti-white. Happens every day. That's why people are called racist, my friend. So this individual's completely ignorant, deep within the anti-white narrative. But if we go here, let's see. I think it's not really an issue of, as of late, everyone has internet, from the smartest to the dumbest of people out there, and any one of them could call you a racist. At this point, only you can really find if you are or not a racist. Wow, deep introspection. My friend. See, this is foolish from within the anti-white narrative. Pretty silly. As you can see, I downvoted these because they're silly from in the anti-white narrative. By dissecting your actions, people throw words, blah, blah. Okay. This individual, and how little the term means these days. Okay, fair enough. It lost its meaning back in about 2016. There's a famous English teacher that used to say a word that means almost anything means almost nothing. I just want to see, like, we got like 66, 47, 12. So interest in comments starting to die off. 7, 5, and then it comes back with my comment 25. So we're dwindling off 7, 5, then 25 likes. And the further you go down a thread, the least likely it is for likes to be equivalent. Okay, so there's a spectrum. Most of the likes are in the first couple of comments, and most people won't go down to the bottom and read and actually like. So this means most people who have come down this far have ignored the rest of these comments. They've seen my comment and been like, yes, like that one, Raymond's right. Why? Because I said racist is just the N-word for whites. It's no surprise anti-white folk call Metatron racist, in quotations, when he is white himself, and they only call us, in quotations, racist, because they hate whites. This individual comes in, yeah man, I mean, has Metatron ever expressed dislike of another race or racial superiority? No. And I'd hold off from calling him racist unless he is explicit. See, again, this individual still, within the anti-white narrative, using the false definition of racist, which is just racial discrimination. But that's not actually what it means. That's what they pretend it means. So I put this here. And people agree with him. But even, again, more people are like, no, Raymond's right. When I say racist, being about racial discrimination has always been a lie. It has always and always will be, or will just be, a slander against white folk. This individual says, try debating on YouTube and people will accuse you of being racist and Islamophobic without hesitation. This individual, obviously, look at this, hail Satan, a Satanist, an antichrist Satanist, who's like all about the devil and being selfish and manipulating and harming others for their own personal gain. That's literally their religion as a Satanist. Hail Satan. You can read the Satanic Bible if you don't believe me. And they happen to be anti-white. It's not a coincidence. I don't just say because it sounds nice or it's poetic that anti-whiteism literally comes from the devil. It's literally satanic to be anti-white. If you don't support white well-being, if you're not white positive, that's literally satanic from the devil. And look who comes in trying to defend anti-whiteism. Somebody with a tag, Hail Satan. Wow, what a surprise. And they come in being anti-white, saying, poor little white guy. Oh, all that discrimination you certainly don't actually experience. Now, I got my own response, but look at this beautifully. The same hour, someone else came in. And look, he's only got 10 likes, this silly Hail Satan. So there's about 10 people following this thread still who are anti-whites. Alright? But then look at this, 23 on this individual who replies for me. or for white well-being for our folk. If you're white, it is possible you will be turned down for a job, or is it possible you'll be turned down for a job just because of the colour of your skin, even though you're more qualified than other ethnicities chosen over you? Yes. Will this happen to other races? No. It's called affirmative action. It's discrimination. Will you be taught in state schools that white people are collectively responsible for the acts of individuals in the past and present? Yes. Are other races taught this? No. It's discrimination. 2 examples of state-mandated discrimination that other races don't have to endure. Someone else comes in, replying to that same satanic anti-white. I remember as a child in rural Louisiana and urban Texas, as I was always one of few white people. I always remember being ambushed on my way home many times and constant harassment by people at schools, predicated based on me being white. When it becomes normal for you to blame a group of people for the actions of individuals, you've been discriminated, or you're being discriminatory. Yeah, so when it comes to blaming all white people for the actions of individuals, you're discriminating against all whites. Okay? It would be the same as if I held all black people responsible for the way I was treated, rather than just the individuals in question. So everyone's coming in Metatron's thread to defend white well-being and shut down anti-whites. And they are extremely conducive and reachable with Go Free lexicon. Just everyday, normal, vague folk. Alright? This individual says, it goes to show how ignorant a certain group of people are, a certain group of darker, complected people who happen to bring up slavery about everything and act like they're oppressed even though they get treated like little children and can burn down cities and everyone will act like they're just having peaceful protest. I think we know what people we're talking about here. I won't say their name though, lol. Yeah. So even this individual comes in and says, come on, like, we know non-whites can literally burn down entire cities and the system calls it peaceful protests. Alright? So let's not act like they're oppressed. We all know the facts of the matter. Everyone here in this thread's proving without a doubt and agreeing that no, it's actually whites who are the oppressed and persecuted race, not any non-whites who literally get to get away with burning down whole cities and they don't get punished. They set entire blown cities on fire and they don't get in trouble. But us whites, we get punished for just having the skin and having the DNA that we happen to be born with. Literally, just because we happen to be born into this race, we'll get fired or discriminated, or, legally discriminated against. Yet non-whites, they can burn down entire cities and it's fine because they're not white. They get away, it's okay. They don't get punished because they're not white. And everyone can see it. It's pretty straightforward. So the more anti-whites try to deny it and hide it, the more obvious it's going to get for everybody. That's what I'm saying. This is a snowball. We've hit it like a crazy point now where it's just becoming normal for vagues to spread white well-being amongst themselves without any input from us whatsoever. We just have to come in and then make slight little corrections, like I've just come in with letting them know, anti-white, this, a few different things here, just to give them the right words to try to express what they're already trying to say. But the average white individual, they're trying to defend white well-being with us in their own words, as we can see here. There's been a shift, and the normie, the vague masses, are now generally white positive, naturally opposing anti-whiteism. The actual masses have, for the first time in history, due to our efforts in the white well-being sphere, those of you who are going free, due to us and your efforts, you noble folk, you heroes of Western kind, the actual masses, the vagues out there, everyday people, now are naturally expressing themselves as white positive and in opposition to anti-whiteism. We only need to give them these last little tools, these words. We need to just arm them. They're already marching onto the metaphorical, spiritual, psychological warfare or battlefield. We simply just need to stand there ready and just arm them as they march past us. And we will recapture our destiny in no time. This individual says, imbeciles have been given a voice. You mean democracy? The whole point of that system of government is to give all, including the imbeciles, a voice. We've been groomed since birth to think that democracy is the best thing since sliced bread, that anyone that rejects it and wants the best and wisest to govern are authoritarians who must be rejected. This is also the reason why the founding fathers of the US made it a constitutional republic, but that detail is lost in modern Western nations. He has somewhat of a point. This individual, the confirmation bias that he mentions at the beginning of said video should not be underestimated. It's the unseen emotional crutch of 8 out of 10 people because intellect is weak while ego is fragile. And in this modern era of cancel culture, it's very mainstream. Yeah, people are generally ignorant these days. No, probably all eras, really. Humans generally ignorant, just in general. That's a natural state, ignorance. You do know that affirmative action has never been properly implemented ever, and if we don't learn about the past and how white people have shaped the modern concept of race and racism, then we will never get past discrimination and racism. Okay, you silly anti-white. I wonder if anyone's come in and replied to this anti-white for me, or if I'll have to just do it. I'll do it anyway. I'll just say, that's anti-white nonsense, bigot. That's anti-white nonsense, bigot. 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 What are you gonna do now, bro? I just called you a freaking bigot. You're screwed. You can write 10 paragraphs, mate. Write 10 paragraphs and explain your position and be all smart and logical and prove me wrong with scientific studies and all the data, and I'm just going to call you an anti-white bigot with an exclamation mark, and then I'll throw in 2 exclamation marks in my next reply and say the exact same thing, and then maybe I'll reply again with the exact same thing with 3 exclamation marks, and I'll just put it in all caps. You're an anti-white bigot in all caps. And you can sit there and write 10 paragraphs for 10 hours, and I'll just shut you down instantly by saying you're an anti-white bigot. That just makes you wrong automatically. Do you not? Do people not see how powerful this is? How powerful this lexicon is? We've literally changed the world. Like, the actual planet has changed. These are real people interacting in the real world. And we've literally, us in the Go Free sphere, spreading white well-being, the reason they're having these conversations, the reason people are saying what they're saying and thinking what they're saying right now, today, is because of what we have done to change the culture and spread our lexicon of Go Free. Like, if anybody alive today is close to what would metaphorically be considered a wizard, or, wizard sorcerers, or using magic to actually change reality, that's right, you're listening to him and he's casting spells, so be careful. Yeah, I don't, again, just to make that point, get that across for everybody. You don't have to be smart, you don't have to be intellectual, you don't have to break down their arguments, alright? Just as soon as an anti-white says anything, alright? If it in any way can lead to or justify the harm of Western kind, or our detriment, or a loss towards us whatsoever, then it doesn't matter how smart it sounds or how much science they have to back it up. We just say, nah, sorry, bruh. No. It's anti-white. Nah. Not good enough. Sorry, haha. And then they just have to shut up. It's really simple. That's how it works. Really powerful. If they say something we don't like, we just say, nah, bruh. Nah. Sorry, you're anti-white. Fuck up. You dumb cunt. And they only have one choice then. Either they fuck up, shut their fucking mouth, or they just expose to the world that we're right and they actually are just dumb anti-white fuckwits. Literally. So remember that, people. This is so powerful. Why have we literally changed the world? Why are people having conversations now where just normal vagues are literally defending white well-being and opposing anti-whiteism actively themselves? Just vagues, normal people, normal white folk that have never looked into white sympathy or sympathetic spheres. They've never been white positive, anything like that. They've never considered. Probably never even said no white guilt or anything like that. They've never even thought about that. They'd probably even say sorry and, like, apologise for slavery and stupid anti-white meme pathogens and things. Yet still, even though they have anti-white meme pathogens and they're still in the anti-white narrative, something is changing within them and they are naturally now starting to express white well-being. This is partly just the natural awakening of the biospirit of Western kind, which is a survival reaction, survival response, natural response, intuitive reaction, collectively, to the erasure of our folk, of our culture, white erasure. So there's this natural, subconscious, intuitive, collective awakening, which is our biospirit. The Western biospirit is being turned on naturally, like a spark, like a light bulb is being flicked on inside each and all individual members of Western kind. Every white person on the planet, a little spark is being turned on inside their spirit, which makes them want to fight and defend their race and all of Western kind. And we all know this spark. Us who are actively going free and have been working for years to serve our people and protect our future generations and recapture the destiny of Western kind. We know this spark. We've had this spark inside of us. That's why we do what we do, because we are driven by the biospirit of our folk, the Western biospirit. That's why we are all advocates of white well-being. It's actually the Western biospirit within us which does that advocacy for itself. It's not us advocating, it's the Western biospirit within us who advocates through us for its own well-being. It is what connects us all. And that has come alive in the masses now. That is starting to awaken in just everyday normal white people everywhere on the planet. So now it is extremely important that we get them these tools, these words, that they will naturally take on because they are trying to express these things themselves without even being asked to. This individual says, the amount of bias with some of the people in this comment section is funny. Yeah. Sure is. So what does this individual say? Hell, I'm not here whining about being discriminated against, am I? Lovely. I don't even have to say anything. Look at this. This anti-white house, this satanic. I'm not even whining about being discriminated. I'm tough. 2 likes. Then they're like, I'm white. I've experienced none of this nonsense you assert. I'm white and I've never been discriminated. So you're full of crap. Anti-whiteism doesn't exist because I just said so. Haha, whites. Now I can harm you as much as I like. Haha, and you can't defend yourself. Oh wait, that would mean that anti-whiteism is real and I'm an anti-white. Just justifying my own harm against white people by saying it's not real. Whoa, exposed. Yeah, one freaking like, you pathetic anti-white. And then look, this mad white positive individual comes in. He says, so you're denying the existence of affirmative action. You're denying the teaching of critical race theory in schools and campuses. Like, bruh. Come on. Anti-whiteism's not real. Bruh. Who you trying to kid? Like, fuck me, bro. So you trying to say that whites aren't the most discriminated race on this planet? Bruh. You fucking joking, cunt? Don't even try to play that game. Okay, so, side tangent, note, lesson for folk, right? What do we do in this situation? If somebody says, anti-whiteism's not real. And do you even have to go into details like this? Like say, so what about affirmative action? What about critical race? What about this? Things that prove that actually, no, anti-whiteism definitely is real. You don't even have to take that step, right? If anybody says, anti-whiteism, discrimination against whites, that's not real, bro. I haven't experienced it. You can literally just answer with, bruh. You're fucking joking, right? You anti-whiteism isn't real. Yeah, right, God, yeah. Keep smoking, bro. Whatever you're smoking, bro, give me a toke. You think anti-whiteism's not real? You freaking crackhead cunt. Shut the fuck up. Literally, that's how you answer. They're like, bro, what do you mean whites are the most discriminated race? It's like, you're fucking kidding, right? Of course whites are the most discriminated race, cunt. Are you fucking cracked off your head, cunt? Did you just take a shot of heroin? What the fuck, bro? Of course whites are the most discriminated race, bro. What the fuck are you on? That's how you respond. Like, make it really known. Like, make it loud and bold. Like, are you cracked out of your head, cunt? Seriously, what the fuck is wrong with you? Did you just headbutt the fucking wall? Like, what is... Can you tie your own shoelaces, cunt? Do you dress yourself? Or do you have a fucking carer that has to put your undies on for you, cunt, because you don't know how to dress yourself? Did you just say whites aren't the most discriminated race? Bruh. You must be handicapped to say that shit. Or you're just anti-white bigot. And you're just trying to lie and just gaslight and hide that fact that we are the most discriminated race on this planet. Either you're fucking insane, you retarded cunt, or you're sick, psychopathic motherfucker, and you want to continue that persecution of the white race. That's the only options, mate. You don't let them have any other option. You don't let them, you know what I mean? We assert our narrative, reality. We don't let them spread their lies, anti-white nonsense. So if anyone ever tries to say, because again, when they're saying this, they're in the anti-white narrative and they're trying to pull you into the anti-white narrative, okay? Where they always win. By saying, I'm white, I haven't experienced none of this. Like, what do you mean? There's no discrimination against whites. Right? So if you respond to that, you've entered the anti-white narrative. You don't do that because then they have power over you. You bring them into our narrative. So you just say, bruh, either you're cracked off your fucking head or you just took a shot of heroin or something, or you're an anti-white bigot scum. That's the facts of reality, bro. What you just said proves that. Either you accept that whites are the most discriminated race on this planet, Well, you're a fucking crackhead, cunt. There's something wrong with you. Or you're just one of those anti-whites who are discriminating against us. And you're trying to just deny and justify that discrimination. Because we are the most persecuted race on the planet. Right? You just put it across like that. That's your only options. Which is it, man? Are you fucking cracked out of your head? Are you a mental case? Who honestly just is too mental, and you honestly think that whites aren't the most discriminated race? Or are you just being disingenuous on purpose to try to harm whites? Because we all know it's obvious. Even the children know that whites are the most discriminated race on the planet. Everyone knows that. Only crazy cunts and anti-whites deny that. Okay, so that's how you handle that type of when they try to deny that we are the most discriminated race. This individual says, agree 100%. Imbeciles used to get tarred, feathered and paraded at the town square. Now we elect them in office. What's this individual reckon? It would be smart to be Islamophobic. Trust me, they don't like you either or your way of life and freedoms you should cherish. What's this person say to me? Actually, black people can be very racist too, as can ethnic Chinese. Someone within the anti-white narrative who just genuinely is confused, and they believe the lie that racist means racial discrimination. So we'll just correct that. We'll say, no, racist is literally just the N-word for whites. Whites even say only whites can be racist. Straight to dragging them into our narrative with a hook. All right. So if any response, this individual's within the white positive narrative giving us power. How? They say, poor white folk. So let's just say, why do you hate white folk? Question mark? Curious. Why do you hate white folk? Okay, folks? Everyone watching? So if somebody says to you, okay, oh, poor whitey. Like they're trying to mock the fact that we are being persecuted. Okay? They're trying to mock anti-whiteism and just play it off and like gaslight and whatnot. So you just ask them, why do you hate whites? Why do you hate white people, bro? Or why do you hate the white race? And as soon as they respond, guess what? They're in our narrative and they're trying to defend themselves and their own bigotry against whites. And they expose their own bigotry and hatred against our people. And all you got to do is just ask them, why do you hate whites? Just ask them. Simple question. Just ask them why. They're bigots. They hate us. They're anti-whites. So just ask them, why do you hate white people, bro? If they try to deny it and say, oh, no, I don't. You say, yeah, of course, that's what an anti-white who hates white people would say, isn't it? If they say, no, I don't hate white people, bro, I just hate racists. Just say, oh, that's exactly what an anti-white who hates white people would say, isn't it? Okay, so no matter what they say, no matter what they respond with, okay, you just say, oh, that's exactly what an anti-white would respond with. Hey, you just proved me right, you bigot. So if an anti-white gives you shit, and they're being disingenuous, okay, they're not engaging in any way, they're just saying, poor white folk, they're just mocking, being disgusting, all right, being hateful bigots. So you just put it straight to them. Why do you hate white people? And no matter what they say in response, you just say, oh, that's exactly what an anti-white would say. You just proved me right. I'm right, you're wrong. Everyone thinks you're a fuckwit now. Sorry, bro. And they respect me and think I'm right, and everyone's going to laugh at you because you're a fucking bigot. Because you're anti-white. Boom. Literally, they get one comment and then they're shut down for an eternity. That's how powerful this lexicon is. Literally, an anti-white can say one fucking word and then that's it. They have nothing more to add to the conversation forever, cunt. They're silenced, censored forever. Because they expose themselves as an anti-white. So everyone just disregards what they have to say. This individual, that's by far the worst thing we did with our dim-witted citizens. My guess is that it all happened because I think that's just nonsense talking about democracy. This individual, in response to, honestly, I'm getting the feeling that people are starting to use the word too loosely, the word racist, too loose. So I was like, where have you been for 20 years? But I'm glad you have woken up to this nothingness. Or nonetheless, sorry, woken up to this nonetheless. Yeah, like, and even this folk, 20 years, where have you been for the past fucking 50 years, bro? Racist has been used just as loosely as it is today since, like, well, probably even over 100 years now. Well over 100 years, mate. These are all late to the party. Old mate's like, oh, since about 2016. This dude's like, bruh, you think you're old school. More like 20 years. I'm like, bruh, you're still in kindergarten, cunt. This shit's been going on hundreds of years. Literally hundreds of years, bruh. Like, catch up. This dude sounds smart. They call everyone a racist. It was funny when two top congressmen, women, who were calling each other racist. No, you're racist. No, you're like children so sad. I am a white man in America, so that makes me a racist. Man who got more votes than people is telling America that we are the biggest threat in history, and how many by this bullshit. They call him, okay, this is just, I don't really care, not interesting, low tier, nonsense from within the anti-white narrative. I am an actual racist now because I got sick of being called racist for the last 6 or so years for simply being white. I used to be anti-racist, laugh my ass. Race is a biological reality. Birds of a feather flock together. See, this individual, again, somebody naturally waking up, the Western bias spirit is sparked within him, yet he's still within the anti-white narrative, so he's going to call himself, he's just going to accept that label, say, oh no, I am a racist, I'll just accept it. Not realising that just puts a target on himself, and what he's actually trying to say is that he's white positive. Not that he's racist. He doesn't actually think this, okay? So this individual saying, I am actually racist now because I got sick of being called... No. He's trying to say, I'm actually white positive now because of being called racist. I was anti-white, where he says, I used to be anti-racist. No, he used to be anti-white, is what he's trying to say. Okay? But now he's actually become white positive because people were calling him racist. Okay, so this is why we need to get these people the lexicon so that they can speak correctly and actually say what they're trying to say. Again, I guarantee, I bet my life that this individual is trying to say that I am actually white positive now because I got sick of being called racist for the last 6 or so years for simply being white and not anti-white enough. I used to be anti-white, and race is a biological reality. Birds of a feather flock together. Okay? That's what he's trying to say. But he can't say that because we haven't gotten to him with the lexicon yet. But all we need to do is just get him those words. We just need to get him the word white positive or supporting white well-being. And we need him to understand that what he used to consider being anti-racist is actually called anti-white. And if we can just get him these two words, just white positive or white well-being and anti-white, then he can correctly express himself just as powerfully as anyone else going free and help to save our folk and recapture our destiny. And he's never even seen a Go Free stream. He probably never even heard or never will even know who Jason is or any of us. But he will help the world go free of anti-whiteism if he just gets 2 words added to his vocabulary. Literally, that's all he needs. He just has 2 words added to his vocabulary, and this man will be one of the most powerful heroes on the planet. Most powerful individuals alive right now on this planet. And all he needs to be one of the most powerful individuals alive on the planet right now is just 2 extra words in his vocabulary. That's how important it is, why we spread these specific words. And educate and share these specific words, this lexicon. Because just a couple of extra words, you can go from being completely powerless to literally one of the most powerful people alive on the planet. Okay? With just a couple extra words. It's all that matters. I need to keep repeating that. Sink it home. This individual says, this will happen to other races. No. Going by the studies, yes, it certainly does. No, it doesn't. That's anti-white. So if they say, well, no, surely it does, I'll say, no, that's literally anti-white. You just proved me right. You're a bigot. Why do you hate the white race? You see? Keep them coming back to that, having an answer that question, and they'll quickly shut their fucking mouths and stop being anti-white. Yet people who don't agree with the normal stuff are being called lots of stuff today. Normal in quotations, of course. That's actually, what? Fascistic or fascistic. But they don't seem to care that they're doing exactly the stuff they're trying to prevent from happening. They're the real fascists. They're the real fascists. Come on, people, stop acting like frickin' 5-year-olds. They're the real racists. They're the real fascists. The thing is, if you open your eyes, you realise they're not opposed to fascism. They're not opposed to racism. These are all just made up abstract ideas. They're only opposed to one thing. That's whites. They're anti-white. So they're not being hypocritical or anything, okay? They're not becoming what they, are opposed to. Or they're opposed to whites, and they're producing white erasure. That's it. They're opposed to whites, they produce white erasure. Okay, they aren't the real racists, and they aren't the real fascists. That's silly, anti-white nonsense. This individual says, I will say I've never saw any comments calling him racist, but loads saying he isn't, so I guess it's not true that society is using the word racist all the time now, since the majority are not doing so. So this anti-white's basically like, well, I didn't see anyone being anti-white against him, so anti-whiteism just doesn't exist in society because I didn't see it. Let's just keep it simple. You denying anti-whiteism is anti-whiteism. That's a good, simple meme curative, okay? That works, and whenever an anti-white denies, okay, the reality of anti-whiteism, just your denial of anti-whiteism is anti-whiteism. or you denying anti-whiteism proves anti-whiteism to be true. Yeah? This person, there are many black racists. No race is exempt or beyond being biased, hateful, or discriminating. But yes, they are. So let's correct this, shall we? So, folk, what do we say to this? We say, again, they say, oh, but black racists. We say, no, anti-whites, if we can spell correctly, anti-whites say only whites can be racist, and they control the definition of the word. Cool. So that's all. So when people are saying, but anybody can be racist, blacks can be racist, Asians can be racist, you say, no, blacks can't be racist, actually. Asians can't be racist. Only whites can be racist. That's a fact. Okay? There is no such thing as reverse race. No, literally, only whites can be racist. Why? Because that's what the anti-whites said. And it's their word. They decide what it means, not you. Do you think you can just change the meaning of any word in the dictionary? And the whole world is just going to agree because you thought you could change the... No. The anti-whites are quite clear. They say that only whites can be racist. And they control the definition. You don't get to decide. And they've said it plain as day. That it means only white people. So when they say racist, they're talking about whites. They admit this. They're straight up about it. They literally say, only white people can be racist. So if that's what the anti-whites say, that's what it is. That's a fact. You don't get to decide otherwise. That's the fact of reality. Only whites can be racist. Because that's what the anti-whites said. And it's their concept. They get to decide, not you. According to critical race theory, every white person is born racist. See, Scott's onto it. Being white is the only fact that matters to them. But they don't really care about white people. This is all a roundabout way of getting at the Jews. Oh my God. What? Yeah, I'll laugh at that one. Okay. I'm just going to say, okay, anyway. Okay, anyway, and just laugh at him. So, bruh. Oh, so critical race theory is actually anti-white. This is a new angle anti-whites must be taken. Yeah, actually, critical race theory, it is anti-white. Use whites are kind of right. Okay, we'll agree at least with that. That yeah, okay. Stop pushing. Stop harassing. Okay, fair enough. Critical race theory, it's anti-white. You're correct. We'll agree. But the reason it's anti-white isn't actually because whites are being discriminated. It's because it's a roundabout way of actually harming the puppies. Or this non-white group. Wink, wink. So all you white people who feel discriminated, you're not actually discriminated. You just feel like you're being discriminated because it's actually non-whites who are being discriminated. Yes. Big brain. Abstract, yes. Fuck off. Yeah. This is legit just gaslighting. Anti-white gaslighting. Okay, so I'm just going to say, okay, anti-white, and laugh at them. So we got to correct this student as well. Again, he's like, for real, people seem to forget that black people can also be raised. No, man. Anti-whites decided that only whites can be racist, bro. Don't matter what you say or what I say or what anyone's opinion is on the planet. Okay? It matters who controls the definition of the word. That's the anti-whites. And they've already agreed that only whites can be racist. So no, blacks can't be racist. Asians can't be racist. That's not how it works. Racism isn't racial discrimination committed by any race or person. So a black person cannot be racist. It's impossible. One of the requirements to be a racist is to be white. So it's literally impossible for a black person to be racist. Whoa! And the sooner people understand this and realise this, the better, because then the easier it is for people to see that racist is just anti-white. It needs to be thrown in the bin. Okay? And it's so obvious because only white people are racist and can be racist. It's literally impossible for a black person to be racist, because a part of the very concept of being a racist is that you're a white person. So how could a black person be racist if you have to be a white person to be a racist? Alright? So people are very confused if they think blacks can be racist, because they can't. Again, you have to be a white person to be racist. That's one of the first requirements. So no non-white is ever racist. Only whites are racist. And the sooner we understand this and accept this reality of what this word, this concept means, which is created and used by, defined by the anti-whites, the sooner we can all just look at it and be like, okay, yes, race, there's no such, they're not talking about racial discrimination. It's just an attack on white people. It's anti-white. So let's just put it in the bin. And for you idiots who still too low IQ to follow, no, it's not racist against whites, because you can't be. But you can be anti-white against whites. Okay? So if it's impossible to be racist against whites, but you can be anti-white against whites, if something is racially discriminating white people, what is it? Exactly, it's only anti-white and never racist. Because racism doesn't actually exist in the real world. Starting to make sense? I hope so. This individual starting to lost meaning a few years ago to refer to people I vehemently disagree with. Again, you're slow to the party, people. You're all still in kindergarten. It started literally over 200 years ago. Anti-whiteism. The concept racist is at least 100 years old or longer. The word itself, concept racist, to slander white people. At least 100 years or older. But anti-whiteism itself, hundreds of years. It shows how racist they are, full of hate, and they see race in everything. Again, what did we just explain? No, anti-whites can't be racist unless they're white. But then still, at the end of the day, you can't be, because if you're anti-white enough, then they're not a racist. But then as well, you can never truly be anti-white enough, so just the fact that you still have white genetics, you are a member of Western kind, at the end of the day, they'll still slander you with that slur, slander, as a racist. So it shows how racist they are, full of hate, and they see race in everything. No. Again, race, you might as well just replace racist with evil white. Okay? Evil white, or white baddie. That's even better. White baddie. Because a baddie is like doom doom doom. Evil is too like good and evil, too black and white. But baddie is like, oh yeah, it's just a character in the story. It's part of the narrative. It's not like up there in the sky, good and evil, kind of like beyond, It's more tangible. A white baddie. So if you just read sentences, like, it shows how racist they are, full of hate, and they see race in everything. Okay, you can just translate that as it shows how bad of whites they are. Okay, so racist would be bad of whites. It shows how bad of whites they are. Like how shit of white people they are. Okay, that's what racist means. You're a shit white person. That's all it means. And racism, okay, is white baddies. Or being a white baddie. Right? So if your action is, if a person is partaking in racism, they are partaking in being a white baddie. Or a shit white, essentially. Right? But people really need to get that to sink in. That's all racist is. This person, I doubt they actually think he's racist. It's just one of many labels crazy libtards apply to people they disagree with. So let's just reply to this. So an individual says, I don't think they actually think he's racist. It's just, a label that crazy people apply to people they disagree with. So it is a label which means white baddie, or white who doesn't hate themselves. Probably easier for people to understand by saying, or a white who isn't anti-white enough. It is a label which means white baddie, or a white who isn't anti-white enough. Yes. Used by anti-whites to promote their anti-white narrative, which justifies white erasure. This individual says, once again supports my personal theory that as a species we are starting to regress and evolve. Affirmative action mainly benefits white women. Oh my. You anti-white scum. Actually discriminates against the Asians. The second point is bullshit. So, again, we'll keep it simple. We're not going to try to prove that this is or isn't what affirmative action is, or that, or anything, go into any details. No. We're not even going to look at any of his other points or anything. We're just going to take that first point that he makes, reply just to that. Look at all these beautiful replies. Wow. Reply just to that with affirmative action is literally anti-white, and only anti-whites deny this. Now this is going to go off, this thread, and we're going to be able to see some awesome responses. And part 2 of this video will be the responses to all of this. So let's just reiterate what I've said to folk in here for some examples of replies you can use to anti-whites. Okay, you can just copy paste this if you really want, like these responses. Whites are currently the most persecuted race on earth, and only anti-whites disagree, which is also proof of their hatred and attack, to the point of gaslighting and pretending like whites aren't actually the most persecuted by anti-whiteism. That's anti-white nonsense, bigot. No, racist is literally just the N-word for whites. Anti-whites even say only whites can be racist. Why do you hate white folk? No, it doesn't. That's anti-white. You denying anti-whiteism is anti-whiteism. No, anti-whites say only whites can be racist, and they control the definition of the word. Okay, anti-white. No, man. Anti-whites decided that only whites can be racist. It is a label which means white baddie, or a white who isn't anti-white enough. Yes, used by anti-whites to promote their anti-white narrative, which justifies white erasure. Affirmative action is literally anti-white, and only anti-whites deny this. That's anti-white nonsense, bigot. No, racist is literally just the N-word for whites. Anti-whites even say only whites can be racist. Why do you hate white folk? Okay, so we're repeating now. No, it doesn't. That's anti-white. You're denying any whiteism. Okay, yeah. Alright, so there you go, folks. What can we take from this? Again, general masses, okay, of white folk and non-whites as well, but generally white folk who are interested in European history and culture, learning about the past and whatnot. They're going free, okay? Naturally starting to go free. The bias spirit has awoken in this demographic, at least. Perhaps not all white people worldwide, every group and subculture and demographic, but the demographic of masses worldwide who are interested in European history, reenactment of European arts and combative cultures, martial traditions, learning how to use a sword and shield, bow and arrow, spear, wear armor, etc. How medieval formations would work, and how to flank with the cavalry, things like this. Folk who are interested in generally understanding our medieval history, our medieval origins and culture, and that part of who we are. Their biospirit has awoken, and they are naturally white positive, naturally defending against and shutting down anti-whiteism. And now I think it's safe to say that I've just armed at least hundreds of individuals who are actively defending against, shutting down anti-whites and promoting white well-being. I've just armed them, hundreds of them, with the vocabulary, the lexicon they need to literally be the most powerful individuals alive on the planet today. And you can be doing the same. I hope that you are, and you're taking this example, and you're getting out there into threads and comment sections and feeds and whatnot, and you're simply just sharing the lexicon in simple ways. Again, you don't have to be super intelligent. You can just say, no, that's anti-white. Or just this response here, that's anti-white nonsense, bigot. You don't have to think about things. You don't have to be intellectual. You don't have to know how to logically, lay forth arguments, to be all formal or anything like this. All you have to do is just get out there, make some comments on some threads or something, get on your Twitter, make a Twitter account, make a Facebook or something. Just go to search on Facebook, make a new random account or something, or if you got a Facebook, jump on Facebook, just go and search and go to groups and go Roman history. And go to a Roman history group or something, or whatever thing you're interested in, Renaissance or classical music, or maybe even just like a car group, 4B, or surfing, whatever this hobby or thing that a lot of Western folk would be interested in. Normal, everyday white people, get in there, start looking around, interacting like a normal individual, okay? And if you see anything that's anti-white, which you will in all factors of life, you call it out and you say that's anti-white. And again, it can be as simple as saying that's anti-white nonsense, bigot. And that's all you have to say. And if just, for example, you could be in a group, of say 15,000 people on Facebook. one post, it's got a couple of thousand reach, or people have seen it or commented or liked or something, and there's one comment on there in response in relation to that, whatever that post is in this group of whatever this interest or topic is. And you just see that one reply to one post in one group, and you just type on that one reply, "That's anti-white nonsense bigot." Enter. And that itself could potentially arm hundreds to thousands of individuals with what they need to actively, in their day-to-day lives, spread white well-being and stop anti-whiteism. So, what are you doing? Are you doing your part? Again, that part need only be something small and of little effort. One comment on one reply on one post in one group. Even if you just did that. If you did that once a week, you would be literally a hero that is doing more for Western kind than most have for centuries. A greater hero for Western kind and that has existed on this planet for decades. A more noble being of higher value and purpose in this universe. Alright? So of great stature. Do you want to be raised up and actually be somebody of importance? Somebody like significant, like you are a hero, a freaking hero, right? That deserves to be honored. All that takes is for you to make one post on one reply on, one image or meme in one group once a week. Just one comment on Facebook once a week. And you can be one of the greatest heroes alive just by making one comment on Facebook or sharing one post. It doesn't take much, but you can make that difference. And we all need to work together to make this difference. So, thank you. And again, in part 2, we'll reply to all the replies of my replies. Take it easy.